Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of CEO and Market Expert Interviews. Today, we are covering SKRR Exploration, relatively new uranium player on the market with highly prospective project in quite impressive neighborhood. Why impressive? Well, SKRR has a project in the southwest area of Athabasca Basin, adjacent to the next-gen Rook project on the northeast, Orano's Preston project on the south and southeast, and on the north right next to the PLS from Fission Energy. The company has option agreement with F3 Uranium to acquire up to 70% interest in the Clearwater West property, with F3 as an operator of the project. That said, let's welcome SKRR Exploration CEO Sherman Dahl and Ray Ashley, President and Director for F3 Uranium. Gentlemen, welcome to my show. It is great to have you both here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks so much. Great to be here.
Yeah. You two gents are a winning combination for a new big discovery. Sherman, you have a financing background and proven record of being able to raise capital. And you, Ray, on the other side, are a geoscientist with more than 40 years of experience in the exploration and with notable uranium discoveries behind you, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. My first question is related to that. How and when did you met?
Well, our relationship is quite deep. We go back as early investors in a company called Strathmore. Ultimately, Strathmore spun out into Fission Uranium and then ultimately F3 Uranium. So Ray was involved all the way along the way, especially with the discoveries in the Athabasca Basin. I was fortunate a number of years ago to be an early investor. And when I did my first site visits in Saskatchewan, the gentleman that was standing on the dock to welcome us was none other than Ray Ashley. And, Ray and his team have gone on to have, 3 discoveries that I know about, which is about 3 more than most of them.
Yeah.
So very early on, our relationship was built around us doing site visits, us being as investors for ourselves and for our clients. And it's been a real successful relationship. And, so this joint venture agreement and this expansion of the agreement with not only Ray and his team, but also Dev and his team is really exciting for SKRR.
Definitely. So you are working together again. Okay, let's start with the overview and the history of the project. Maybe, Ray, if you can say more about the history of the project, you know it.
Yes, well, it was acquired in 2013, I believe. We then, in the very early days, soon, almost right after the RRR discovery was made, when it was still possible to get ground.
Yeah.
In that obviously very hot part of the basin. So we immediately went about the steps that we have learned to take to develop targets and evaluate a property that involved airborne geophysics being flown, ground geophysical follow-up, and an option agreement was signed back, I think, in 2014 for another company to earn into that property. What happened then is that there was trouble with the budget coming forward, and only 3 drill holes were drilled. That's back in 2015. There were nice conductors, northeast trending conductors that head up parallel to the Patterson Lake corridor that hosts RRR and Arrow. So there's very good looking conductors that represent shear zones. Or that's what needs to be, that's what we look for, is the shear zones that these uranium deposits occur along. So there's, the property it's in the right neck of the woods. It's close to the Athabasca Basin. It's got the right strike of conductor trends. So we only managed to test 3 targets on the east side of the property. There's many targets that are already defined. The property's drill ready, because all of that work that needs to be done so the property's drill ready in the right neck of the woods and looks very prospective from an exploration point of view.
Yeah, you have exploration plan in place for Clearwater. Tell me more about the strategy here. What kind of work do you plan to carry, Ray?
Well, look, While there are some drill-ready targets right now, and that would be, in my opinion, the next focus would really be to go and test for the first time, really, many conductors that are prospective in the right neck of the woods. But on the west side of the property, there's also some airborne conductors that have never been detailed on the ground. So to me, the next step conceivably is to go and do some limited work just to pin down those trends, and then go right in with a drill program with the money that SKRR's, the financing they've announced, to head right in there and start testing these drill targets to really look at the prospectivity of these trends.
Okay, you mentioned those 3 holes that were drilled before. Do you plan to follow up on the same holes, or do you plan to test new ones?
No, I think, some of those holes were not did not explain the target. So they weren't actually in the right places to explain the drill targets. But no, there's a lot of targets and not immediately in those areas, but along strike from that and adjacent conductors. So yeah, some of the targets were not explained in that original program. Originally it was planned to be a 10-hole program, and that was, only 3 holes were drilled, and those were the 10 prospective targets. So no, they are in that area on the east side of the property, but not in the immediate vicinity of those other 3 holes.
Okay, Sherman, when do you expect this drilling to commence, approximately?
Well, we're really fortunate with this joint venture agreement to have some flexibility to have and synergies along with F3. I mean, they're very active in the area, and so we expect that we would Ray and his team would be on the ground relatively soon in terms of identifying what potential drill targets and any additional work that might be needed. And then we're really going to wait to hear from Ray and the team. We could be drilling as early as the summer if financing and mobilization was to work out. But at the very latest, we would expect a winter drill program, which is often considered worthwhile, especially in the Athabasca Basin. Winter drill programs are also very popular. But given the easy access to the property, and subject to the financing that we're working on, and subject to the synergies that we want to take advantage of with F3 because they're working in the area, we would say with summer at the earliest and winter drill program at the latest.
Okay, but do you already have all work permits in hand?
Oh yeah, all the work permits are currently in hand for the geophysics that we contemplate. Small amount of geophysics, really to confirm airborne targets on the west side of the property. Those work permits are in place, and in fact, even the permits for a drill program, a drill program that would be budgeted, for example, at $1.5 million. Those permits are in place. Yeah, and as Sherman says, F3 is very active drilling in that area, obviously at the PLN property itself. So we're drilling at PLN right now. There's other properties that F3 owns nearby. And so either a summer program, there could be cost sharing, given that drills would be there. So, and with our personnel already there, and with, operating already on nearby projects, there would definitely be able to be cost sharing for a drilling program at Clearwater West.
Yeah, guys, if you can say a little bit more about the access on the property and the infrastructure, please.
Well, I can speak to that. Since we already drilled there on the east side of the property, there are access trails that already get into that eastern side of the property off Highway 955. A camp would not be needed. Mm-hmm. Because really there's an existing camp where it's called Big Bear Camp. It's right off the highway. So, and that camp is the base for all of the drilling that we're doing at PLN. The crew for the drilling at Clearwater West could be based there. So there's no need for a camp. And the access trails already exist. There's even access trails into the western side of the property, just basically from historic drilling done in that area. So there's no, access is already in place, and the infrastructure to base a camp is already there. So it's really quite straightforward. The money really would be focused on the actual drilling.
Excellent. Sherman, the important part of the exploration work is money, of course. And like you said, you have private placement at the finish, I would say, in which you expect to raise $1.5 million. How is that going? When do you expect the closing of this financing?
We expect closing closer to the end of the month. We're getting subscription agreements in daily at this point. So there has been quite a bit of interest. I mean, it's a very interesting situation where you've got an opportunity to go drill a significant target in the west side of the Athabasca Basin in this really what Dev and Ray have envisioned correctly as one of the most exciting areas on the globe for finding high grade uranium. So, and given the fact that we've got a very low market cap compared to some of the other players, I mean, there's been quite a few financings, quite a bit of money raised recently to go drill various uranium targets throughout Saskatchewan and throughout even other parts of Canada. So, we expect by the end of the month, we'll have a firmer grasp on exactly how much we've raised on this particular financing.
Yeah. You returned from PDAC last week. Did you met there with some new investors who will be involved in this financing maybe?
Yeah, we certainly did. I mean, there's a huge amount of interest in uranium, not only at PDAC, Ray has been across the globe as far as Zurich in the last couple of months, as I have, and even precious metal summits now have electrification and uranium aspects to all the conferences that are going on now. And that's where you're seeing the crowds of people is, Dev, the overall leader of F3 and the founder of some of these significant discoveries, puts it very simply. What do we need? We need energy. And not only in North America, but across the globe. I mean, it's just fundamental to humanity. And, uranium is a key component in this.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Sherman, do you have a planned budget for Clearwater in 2024?
We do. I mean, we've gone out to the market with a maximum of up to 1.5 million on this financing. So we would like to be able to commit to a solid drill program of $1 million to $1.5 million to get Ray and his team working.
Okay. Ray, like you said, so all the help from F3 will be there when the drills are starting to turn on Clearwater, personnel, drill companies, etc. There will be cost sharing, like you said. So basically, you are the operator of the project, right?
Yes, and that's exactly right how you put it. Yeah, it's a long-standing relationship that we've had, as Sherman describes. I remember that day on the dock meeting him. That's a long time ago. Now we've worked together through all those years. It's nice for us. For F3, we need to obviously stay focused on our new discovery.
Yeah.
The company. That's where the companies, the shareholders want to see F3's money focused on growing and expanding our new discovery. So the opportunity with SKRR here is to also now have the opportunity to advance some of these other projects with potential that we've worked on and developed targets on over a long period of time. So we're very happy as a technical team to be able to get back to Clearwater West and follow up on prospective targets, obviously in a perfect and neck of the woods near beautiful high grade deposits. So we're really happy to get back to the opportunity to get back to Clearwater West.
Yeah, Clearwater is an early stage project, but can you draw some parallels with PLN?
Well,
it's in a different stage, I get it, but
yeah, but well, I mean, look, PLN, when we started, what did we do? We flew airborne geophysics to look for conductors that ultimately testing would, we're looking for reactivated basement structures that are graphitic and sulfide bearing. So we've done that, and that's step one. And it's not clear that such structures or conductors are going to be there on the property. There's a lot of parallel northeast trending conductors on the Clearwater West property. That's very prospective. Now it's about going there and drill testing them to see, geologically what these conductors represent, and, to see if they really have potential to host uranium mineralization. Our team's had the experience of being around and expanding and discovering 3 uranium deposits or discoveries. So yeah, that's the next stage. So I mean, at the stage where we're at, the property it has lots of conductors that stand to be very prospective for hosting uranium mineralization. So yeah, at this stage, it's and close to the edge of the basin, along strike from where there's a lot of exploration activity. There's the new discovery by NextGen 3.5 kilometers east. So, of that. So it's a separate structure. All that bodes well for the potential down at Clearwater West.
Definitely, I agree. Sherman, what about your other projects in SKRR portfolio? What is the plan there?
Well, one of our flagship projects is the Olsen Gold Project, which we have 80% that we've already earned in the Olsen Gold Project. There's one that really could be a flagship project for a joint venture that wanted to come in and explore further the gold showings and the significant drill results that were held there. And I point, I guess, to our most recent transaction with Fathom Nickel. And Fathom Nickel is another great story to be paying attention to. And they took over our Watts Lake zinc property. So there was an example where we ended up with 2 million shares of Fathom. So we've got really good value for one of our other projects, which was a zinc project. So we could very much envision something like that happening with our Olsen Gold project as one example. We also recently did a small transaction with our Manson Bay, which is a gold-enriched VMS deposit in the Flin Flon area. But, so we're still very much aware, and we have monetized some of our assets. But our real focus, going into this year was, working with Ray and his team at the Clearwater West uranium project.
Yeah, well, what's the plan with those Fathom Nickel shares? Will you hold it? Will you sell it?
Well, it would just like you would, I guess, read in any sort of disclaimer, we're not likely to acquire more because that's not what we do. But at this point, we're very happy with our position. We meet with management on a regular basis, and Fathom Nickel really does point to the incredible mineralization that exists in Saskatchewan. Not only in potash and in gold and in oil and gas, but obviously to the point of this call today, the significant mineralization in uranium in Saskatchewan. So, yeah, we love Saskatchewan, and we would rather see Fathom Nickel get bought out, to be honest. And our goal is to hold our shares till we can have a significant discovery there.
Okay, so you are becoming a uranium-focused company. Is there an option that you maybe buy more properties, stake more land, etc.? I mean, uranium land.
Well, I think, this relationship with Dev and Ray is, as Ray has alluded to, is a long-term, deep relationship. But, Dev and his team are also very well known for getting things done.
Yeah.
And they want to see us perform. And, so, Dev has made it very clear in other calls and that they would certainly be willing to do more with SKRR. But let's work on Clearwater. Let's work together. Let's get some meat on the bone. And yeah, they're absolutely available for more deals.
That's great to hear. After you close this private placement, how much money will you have altogether in the bank?
When we close the private placement, we're going to be pushing probably in the neighborhood of probably well over 2 million in cash.
That is a great position if you consider the market cap, current market cap of the company. Correct. Definitely. Is that is sufficient to execute all your plans for 2024?
Yes. Yeah. that would certainly get us going at Clearwater West, which is the entire objective of this year. And as we all know, the junior markets have been difficult. So, you know, we're fortunate to already be in Saskatchewan, and we're fortunate to have a great relation with F3, and we love uranium.
Yeah. How is your share structure looking now, Sherman? You have a really tight share structure, right?
We do. We have a very tight share structure. So it's really conducive for, you know, the retail investor. Someone that wants to come in and to be able to really, a true exploration story also gives you tons of upside if you have a discovery. And so it's really important to have a low market cap. You know, you don't want to pay for those discoveries in advance. So this structure is perfectly suited for retail investors, small institutions that, you know, want to put some money to work and want to have a real impact. If there's a discovery, that will have a significant change in the market cap of this story.
Okay, for an average investor, for the new investor in SKRR, news flow from the company, when and what can we expect in the upcoming period?
Well, I think that the total focus over the next couple of weeks is to close the financing. Once we've got the financing closed, I mean, the ongoing work of F3, as Ray's talked about, is extensive. I mean, you know, really, there'd be then the next bits of news flow would be, when are we going to be on the ground and what are we doing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Final question for both of you, gents. Overall uranium market, you said, where are we now? But where are we going? What's next for uranium? Sherman, you first.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I go back to some of those broader comments that, you know, the world needs energy. And, you know, we see it in every aspect of what we're doing. I mean, I was at PDAC, there was an electric car right on the, you know, right in one of the booths at PDAC. And, you know, as Ray knows, I took the opportunity because the weather was so nice to have an electric bike to ride around downtown Toronto. And so what aren't we plugging in? And, you know, so, you know, the base load that we're going to require as humans is going to require a significant amount of clean energy. And that has to come from somewhere. And, you know, we're fortunate to have people like Ray and Dev that are out, you know, exploring for these deposits that ultimately the world is going to need.
Yeah.
Ray, what's your take?
For uranium is obviously very positive. Everything I hear is really that, you know, the spot, it pulled back a little bit, but to me, that's, from what I hear, it's just a pullback. I think the long-term prospects here for uranium are very positive. So I think, you know, it's the right commodity to be in today. And the world is really coming around to accepting that nuclear is the answer to baseload power, and everybody's coming around to that conclusion.
Well said, gents. Thank you very much for coming. This was a great chat. Thank you, Sherman. I wish you luck with your projects, and of course, Ray, you also with this project and with F3 Uranium. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.